I got a car with an app. I don't mean I shop for a car. I mean I went from I want a car to here's my. I got a car with an app. I don't mean I shop for a car. I mean I went from I want a car to here's my. I got a car with an app. I don't mean I shop for a car. I mean I went from I want a car.
Right, family, you already know what's about to go down. This your brother Sarnetta coming back at you once again. It's when two worlds collide. The clash of the titans is going down. We got our brother Chuck Morgan on the line today, and I want to give this brother the opportunity to speak his truth. We all have truth, okay? And this is just the beginning. I'm doing all the interviews. Maybe tomorrow you will see the opposition sitting across from him, okay? But I want to be fair. I interviewed Brother Ali yesterday. That is only because this brother didn't want to be face to face with the opposition. So it's all good. I ain't even sweating that. So this is why I will bring on my brother Chuck Morgan today, and we're gonna get it in peace. Overstanding Daily. I need you to email me, sister. I need you to email me. You already know my email. I was trying to reach out to you for a minute. sa.neter@yahoo.com. That's the email. I need you to just hit me up. Say peace. That way I know it's you, and then I can respond to it after the email. But anyway, family, this is not about slander. I don't want to slander nobody. I don't want to, because I know how it feels when people do it to me. So what I just want to do is give them the opportunity to speak their truth. We all have truth. And after looking at this brother's pictures and stuff, he is definitely qualified because he's inside of the joint. It ain't like he's on the outside looking in and just talking about what he heard or what somebody told him. He's on the inside. So that means what? He has inside information, right or wrong. Check, family. And you know, I always get the check from our ancestor brother Steve Coakley. Shout out to Steve Coakley. I want to keep him alive, and by using his word when he say check, meaning do you feel me, do you hear me? That's all he's saying. Check. Then they respond by check, I got you. That's all it is when we say that. Check. All right, family. So without any further ado, let me get some water. And let me get my brother Chuck in the building. All right, peace and black power to you, my brother Chuck Morgan in the building. How you doing, my brother?
Everything is all right.
Man, I know it's early in the morning over there where you at, brother. What time is it, brother?
Right now it's 8:01.
Oh, man, 8:01 a.m.
Yeah, man. Over on the island of Maui.
Brother, yeah. So you must be up late night watching us, man. You got to be up late night.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, see, with my scheduling, I can't watch you live unless I'm off. So I try to, when I'm doing my night shifts and things, I always have my phone plugged in, and I check out the shows and see what's happening.
Okay.
I try to stay plugged in on what's happening back home. You know?
Right. Well, tell us a little about yourself, brother. Give us a little information about yourself. Where you living at now for the people, for the viewers, can have a little understanding.
Well, right now I'm living in Hawaii. I've been here for about 11 years. I came out here just to kind of get away, and I fell in love with the place, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, it's beautiful out there, huh?
Yeah. Bro.
The weather?
Beautiful. Uh-huh.
Oh,
nice
man.
and warm.
There you go, my brother. That's what's up. Okay. So let's get right into it, brother. You know, a lot of people see you going in on the Nuwaupian Nation. Is this a personal vendetta that you got going on? Give us your story. Why you go so hard on Dr. Malakazi York in the Nuwaupian Nation, brother? Talk about it.
Well, it's not anything personal. As I've said before to many people who I've argued or debated with, I think that they usually put up this notion that my critique of Dr. York and his teachings is based on some personal vendetta. He has never done anything to me. As a matter of fact, we for what it's worth, we were pretty close, because when I was in D.C. and Baltimore, I was doing talk radio, and I was an outlet that gave him a getaway from a lot of the things that was going on at the time with all the zoning and all the issues that were happening in Putnam County. So what some of the sisters in the office, when they would call, they would say that, with the radio shows going on and how I was debating with Christians all night long, or calling in various shows whenever there would be someone, of prominence, Ben Ami, or anyone who was into quote unquote knowledge at the time. I was something of a bulldog that was going after any and everyone who was out there saying that they had truth, because at that time I was, within the Nuwaupian organization, and he enjoyed those recordings that we did in D.C. It was the Mo Better Man show. That was when I used to call in, and I would always argue with a brother named Frick. And these recordings, I would send them down to see the way that it was set up. When you did classes on Sundays, the question and answer session, what you had to do was you had to submit those recordings or those videotapes down to Camaret or in upstate New York, Monticello, so that they could be viewed to make sure that you're teaching properly and or what the people are saying, because several or many books were derived from the questions that people were asking at the time, and that is what helped to come up with new topics or new issues that he wanted to address in various publications. And so with my situation with what was going on, I would be debating various individuals. So he would write books, and he would send them to me, and I would use them if I had come into an issue and I couldn't answer. He would, submit a new publication. I would proofread some of the books that he was going to put out, and that was pretty much what helped to shoot me into that good grace at the time, because I had met him back in 1991 in New York. That one of the festivals, going to the 19 classes that were in upstate New York, and when ever since then I had a chance to talk with him. That's basically how our friendship began, and I just stayed in contact with letters. Or when I eventually got a bookstore, we would go down bi-weekly, turn in monies, and that was my claim to fame within the organization. So he released about 11 CDs of those debates, chopped them up, and I didn't get anything from him monetarily. I mean, I was just doing my part to try to help get the information out. So at this point, it's nothing really different other than now I'm taking what I was doing previously with the organization and shifting it around and questioning the doctrine of the Nuwaupians. and I do it pretty effectively.
All right, so hold on, brother. Let's not go too far. So you knew Dr. York personally. You knew this brother. You knew this man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because a few people, like I spoke with Prince York one time, and Prince York would make the claim that you don't know his father, you never been a part of the movement or something like that. And now that I see the pictures, I see the evidence, I mean, I'm like, wow, I'm blown away. But you definitely are qualified for this. So, as you can see the title, are the teachings of Dr. Malachi Z. York pseudo? What made you turn away from the teachings of Dr. York all of a sudden? No, first of all, how long have you been a member of the Nuwaupian Nation? And then what made you say, you know what? This something is not right here. What made you turn away?
Okay. I first came in contact with the teachings in 1989. I was working at the Pyramid Bookstore on Georgia Avenue, up from Howard University, the House of Knowledge. And I was working at Islamic Visions Video. Islamic Visions Video was basically it's a Sunni Muslim outfit, but I was just there as a cashier. So I remember when the book, The Ansar Cult, written by Bilal Phillips, came out. Once that book came out, I saw some of the brothers who was coming up in the white, and I used to go by people's drugstore from time to time, and I would see a young brother standing outside with his table, and so I started asking him questions, and he gave me a book and a True Light tape, and so I digested it, I liked it, whatever. So when I was working there one time, when the book The Ansar Cult, The Rebuttal to the Slanderers, which was supposed to be York's response to Bilal Phillips' book, I took the book and put it in the store that I was working in. And it caused me to get fired because the owner was a Sunni Muslim. And he didn't take that too kindly. So that was really what got me rolling with it. So from 1989 and 1990, I moved into the Ansar community in D.C. Back then, there was a brother from out of New York named Emir Idris. I think a lot of people know him. And over time, I eventually took that name because when I got transferred to Florida with the brother from Philadelphia, Kedar, I then took on the name Idris because his name was Kedar at that time.
Right. I don't know if I missed it, but how long have you been a member?
So from 1989 till 2004. And actually, even up until 2011, because when I came out here, I figured that I'd probably be around a lot of people who were into the whole Bible thing. So I was going to hold on to the books that dealt with religion for the most part, just in case I came across some things and I may have wanted to argue or debate people over here, just in case. So I didn't get away from it until I left, when I just put away a lot of the books. I just didn't even deal with it at all. So what had happened was I started, when I got back into wanting to ask questions, I remember we used to have these mock debates in the community. So I asked the brother, for those listening, I would call some of the teachers that I still maintain contact with, like the brother in D.C. at the time, Jonathan Johnson. I talked to Mental Hotep, of the Triad. I would ask various questions on the doctrine because after being away from it for so long, and then you look at it from a skeptical point of view, that was when the door started opening in my mind that it's not, I see too many gaps and holes within it. Even when I was a Nuwaupian, because Nuwaupianism didn't actually come about until around 1997, 98, because when I was there, it was the Ansarullah community, Nubian Islamic Hebrew mission. And then that transpired into the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, and then it went on to the various different subsects and organizations that he had within to kind of throw people off. So I went through all the schools, and I was into it from from officially, in my mind, officially from 1990 to 2011. So I left it because I started seeing gaps and inconsistencies in ways that I never really studied the doctrine. You know, because my whole thing was I used the doctrine because I spent a lot of my time arguing and debating with Christians, Muslims, Hebrew Israelites, Israeli church. I was just going that. I was like a battle type of brother when it came to this stuff. And I think you'll like that because when I used to do the shows on the radio, you know, I would just be mimicking him, you know, because I remember the brother was saying that that's all you got to do is just get in that mode. And then, you know, with all the studying that we used to do, that was how it came to be. And that was my thing. And so I just left it when I came over to the island. And eventually when I picked up the Holy Tablets and I came across something that I remember we talked about, and that was the question on where in Egyptian studies, where in any Egyptian text does it mention that Abraham of the Bible created the pig for that Zozar and Imhotep created the pig for Abraham. Because that was something that York taught back in the Ansar doctrine, and it is still prominent in Wu-Nuwaup. And when I asked that question, no one gave me any place where it could be found, and no one gave me any concrete answers as to where can this be verified? How true is it? And as I started doing more research into... Keep going.
I got my daughter calling me. Keep going, man.
Okay, understood. As I started going deeper and deeper into this thing, that's when it embarked into new questions. And then I talked to a sister, and I was throwing questions in different chat groups. And the sister asked me, why don't you just set up a group for yourself, and then you can start doing it like that. And you know, like got a Facebook page set up, and then we got a group, and you know, I became a slanderer because prior to that, I mean, I was in all the brothers' good grace, and everybody loved me, you know, because that's Idris, you know, everybody knew me as Idris, and you know, I was always about studying because that was why I took that title or name, one who studied, and when I started to question the doctrine from the opposite side in doubt, that was everybody had labeled me a slanderer and then started saying all kinds of things about me. So I took it and, you know, got the thick skin, and everything has been going uphill ever since. And that culminated over time into the Nuwaupianism.com website, where I try to set it up to where it's a counter to the teachings or the things that are being taught and or promoted today, or what was taught in the past. So I try to cover Ansar doctrine all the way up into what's current. And I have a good brother took the time to send me a number of current publications, because at one time they were saying, oh, that's old information, that's old and outdated information. They're dwelling in the past. Those are old school. But if you look at the teachings that are coming out today, it's nothing more than a lot of the old teachings with new faces and regurgitated information with a new twist and spins on it. There's not anything really new. So when they say things like, this is what because they would say, York always used to say, I came giving you what you want, so you will learn to want what I have to give. You know, and they'll say, I didn't want the religion. I wanted the information, because initially what brought me to that was I just asked the question, was Jesus black or white? And that was the thing that set it off for me. That's all I needed, because I was never a religious person, you know, because I was always questioning it. But when the brothers asked me to come to the classes, that's all I had. I asked the brother Idris that question, and I watched him get into a debate with a Sunni Muslim in that regard, and you know, I enjoyed it. So I can be kind of long-winded. So I'm sorry, just try to narrow.
All right. Did everybody hear that? Because I had the button on. Everybody heard him, right? Everybody heard what he was saying? Check. Come on, family. Because I had the button on right now. But I think they heard you.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you still keeping the memory of Steve Coakley alive, because even when I was dealing with that, I always stayed close with Steve and the Names Committee. That was my man.
Oh, okay.
May he rest in peace.
Okay,
Yeah.
now, a lot of people, man, they still asking me, and I remember a brother by the name of Brother Malik, Cuban brother, good brother. He always say the pickle man, and I remember him asking Polite this, and Polite just bust out laughing like he was a nut or he was crazy. Was they using any terms like the pickle man? And if so, what is the pickle man, brother?
Wow. Okay. Well, the pickle man thing, because of the ridiculousness of it, I think that was one of the reasons the brother really pulled that out, because I put up an article on my website known as Is Pickle Man Real? Okay? And when you look at it, it's nothing that York had elaborated on. Okay?
Oh, okay.
What it is in addition to the weekly world news, where York in his book Is God an Extraterrestrial, he talks about how Bat Boy is real. On page 88, it gives an illustration of Pickle Man, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Predator. And from there, I put the focus on this Pickle Man because it's an odd character. And the Nuwaupians have put this book back out, Is God an Extraterrestrial? And all of these things regarding Pickle Man, it's no elaboration on it. But when you look at it, you'll see, okay, he says that the Predator creature. Now, the movie Predator just came out again,
right.
Another version of it. All right. York taught that the Predator was a real being from the Andromeda galaxy. Yes. This is what Nuwaupians we had to go out and teach. This is in the Holy Book of the Nuwaupians, the Holy Tablets. And you have an illustration of the Predator creature right next to the Pickle Man, right next to the creature from the Black Lagoon, which was that movie that came out back in the 1950s. That's pseudo. When you teach that this is real, when York says they make statements about events in time, but they don't produce the evidence or the documents to support what they say, which leaves the reader in the same state that they are in religion, then this is the same thing that York has been doing, locking people down in beliefs when the whole thing was supposed to be all about right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, having sound right reasons. None of this stuff reasons out. So when the brother pulled out Pickle Man, that was just one of a plethora of pseudo commentaries that are in the Nuwaupian publications written or authored by Malachi York. So I zoomed in on the Pickle Man character, and you see that he has a utility belt. Obviously, the illustration is taken from another publication because York was notorious for plagiarism and stealing images and all of these things to help build his doctrine. So somewhere, it could be in the Matrix book because he did use excerpts from there. Then there were several other books that he used cartoon illustrations of creatures, monsters that York says that were real. So in a nutshell, to answer the question, Pickle Man is a character that York mentions in figure 74 on page 88 of the Pickle Man, of the Is God an Extraterrestrial book. Okay? So in addition to Pickle Man, he talks about Bat Boy. Bat Boy, of course, as you probably know from looking at those old newspapers back in the 1980s in the weekly world news.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. That siren was killing me.
Yeah, they going by.
Yeah, so the weekly world news has the infamous Bat Boy on the cover, and York uses that and makes the claim that he's real because a vampire is a vamp empire. You know, he uses these strange word games that I don't know what we were under because I have to say, let's say when I was telling someone else, I understand or understand what in the mindset of a Nuwaupian, because I was there. I was as blind, deaf, and dumb as they are today. And I'm not saying that as to be disparaging. I'm saying that I was one of the strongest advocates of this doctrine. And so for someone to, because I used to go at people who broke away and started going after the doctrine, and I see where they're coming from. But unfortunately for them, what I try to do is I always try to make certain that I have the evidence to support what I'm saying in regards to what York has said, either on audio or video or what's in his publications, and a counter by going to documented evidence, historical evidence, going to primary sources, to where you, the reader or the viewer or the listener, is able to take this and then go to the source yourself. So it's not just Chuck saying this, and linguistically we try to get into that. So when we start dealing with Sumerian things, or we're dealing with Seshmetaneta, I'm taking the course on Seshmetaneta with Brother Ujaru. So by a certain point, I'm going to be able to take the questioning to another level.
All right, brother. Let me ask you. I have been hearing a lot of rumors. A lot of people been making a lot of rumors and statements, and some might say it's slander or whatever. But when I was out there on them streets, I would hear people come by and talk about Dr. York and say Dr. York would take somebody's family from him, somebody's wife, if they was into they nation. And sometimes Dr. York would bring the wife into his quarters, and sometimes he would have sex with brothers' wives. How much do you know about that to be true, brother?
Okay. It never happened to me. Okay. I know multiple individuals where that it did happen to.
Damn.
But of course, it didn't happen to me. I know individuals by name. The brother that was on your show just the other night, Morpheus, who I just spoke with earlier, he can elaborate a lot more on that, because he was there, on the Force MDs. He was right there living in the New York Gemini. He was living in the community in New York. And I knew that individuals, when I lived in Baltimore, where a brother had his wife taken, she went upstate and became one of York's concubines.
Damn, man,
I knew the brother Wadafa, who was in D.C., one of the top earners in D.C., because he used to sell go-go tapes downtown on F Street. His girl, she got taken up and became one of his concubines. See, one of the things that was a disadvantage that I knew was that before you moved into the community, first you had to submit passport or had to submit photographs, especially the sisters. So at that time when we were Ansars, the sisters wore veils or khimars. So by them wearing the khimar, the average brother's not going to see what they look like, but York or those in the office would have access to what they look like. And if York felt that he wanted that sister, he would get that sister, because one of the things I did learn was that some of the sisters who were in his extended family, they would put pressure on the sister. Or they'll say, well, that brother's not doing this for you, or that brother's not doing that for you. You need to get yourself someone that's going to be able to take care of you. And that's something that York would do. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a rumor. I think that I'm pretty sure it's a fact. And a lot of brothers have left the community as a result of that. And, I remember one brother was telling me that, quote, if he were able to take your wife, then she was never your wife. So I mean, you got to keep in mind that York at that time, with his York Records, York Studios, and he put out a couple of minor hits. It's on Me, and he was a flamboyant character, the gift of gab. That was something that tantalized a lot of women, and they saw him as everything. because one of the things that York always did was he always made certain that he would be the number one of everything. He claimed that he was a direct descendant of the Mahdi Muhammad Ahmed of Sudan. And by way of that bloodline takes him all the way back up to the Prophet Muhammad. He claimed that he was the son of, he was Marduk, who was the son of Enki in Akkadian and Sumerian texts. He claimed to be the expected one, Brother John, that all the Masons or Freemasons will be waiting for. He claimed to be an extraterrestrial being from a planet that he referred to as Risk, was the 8th planet in the 19th galaxy that he called Ilium. These concepts that he put out, and people looked at him as some super being. A lot of these women, I'm just using women for an example, a lot of the women were susceptible to that. And a lot of the sisters, and not just the sisters, a lot of families gave their children or trusted their children with him, because the mission was that we are going to raise the 144,000 children of light. And that the only way that these are going to be the children that will not be defiled by the harlot, because he used the book of Revelation as the foundation for this prophecy. And that he would be the one who was going to raise these children as being Melchizedek of the Bible. Because York also claimed to be Melchizedek. And so a lot of families trusted York, gave their children to York, and trusted that he would do these things, and the rest is history.
All right, brother. Well, you know I cannot let you get away. I can't let you get away without you addressing the molestation, being that you have spent these years up in there and you was there on the grounds. I don't think you have anything to gain by lying or by, trying to throw slander on the brother. Have you ever heard of a young brother by the name of Tariq Noel? Was he a young brother when you was involved, or was these brothers there when you was there? His family, I mean.
Let me give clarity and context.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. I never lived on Tamaray. I never lived on the property in Georgia. I was asked to come down. I was encouraged to go down, but York, when I was very successful doing the radio show. He wanted me to stay there because I was getting pressure from some of the brothers inside. Why are you not, because at that time I had left, why are you not in the community like we are when you're supposed to be doing it that way? When York was telling me, no, you don't have to move in. Just keep doing the radio show and keep getting the information out there. I need that. And then he was using that. I didn't meet him. I was able to connect with Tariq Noel when I was doing my doing some of the articles for my website. So I remember when I started going into the transcripts, the sealed transcripts, the trial notes, and I'm looking at the various victims, I reached out to several of them. And because, a lot of them knew me or were familiar with me, a lot of them didn't want to have anything to do. They didn't want to say anything to me because they thought I was trying to set them up for something. So Tariq Noel was the first one who actually embraced it. I sent him an email because I saw his Facebook page, and then we talked. And I told him, I asked him various questions, and I needed to get some clarification and some confirmation. And so he was the first of the victims to really give me insight into what happened to him and what he saw, and to help corroborate what was in the transcripts. Because they didn't even know, because some of the ones that I may have shared them with, they didn't even know what the other individuals were saying at the trial, because they were sequestered. So, that he was the first, and then I reached out to a couple of others, and certainly some others chose not to even talk about it because they were so traumatized by it.
Yeah, but didn't the young brother Tariq change his statement? I heard that he changed it, and I think he himself admitted or something like that. I don't know. I don't want to get him wrong.
Okay. No. That's very good. We did a show on that. I think it was Six Dynasty. We did a show on that where we had we addressed that in full. Because, see, what had happened was many individuals who were trying, they basically did what's called witness tampering. Tariq and I can't remember the names right now. They had met with one of York's attorneys, and they were trying to get them to change their statements. You see, and they gave them affidavits, and they filled it, typed it up and wrote it out. But these things were never filed in court. So all this stuff about them recanting, there was never a recantment. There are no recantments. They didn't change their stories. They maintained their stories, but when the Nuwaupian organization put it out in on websites like Nuwaupian Facts and other little websites, they painted the picture that the victims had recanted. Like they'll bring up Habiba Washington and the video that she did. These individuals did that because they were told and advised by the administration that it would help Doc. Now, in Habiba Washington's case, she is animate and very angry that people have been lying on her. She said that the reason she did that video was because she felt sorry that he had got so much time, which was something that she said was advised that she would should say. But when York was brought up to get a second, for a possibility in the August of the same year that video was released in 2004, she was brought into court at a hearing to decide whether or not York would get a new trial based on her alleged recantment. She maintained her testimony. Everything that she said at the trial, she said that it was true and that she lied to the Nuwaupians on that video. So these affidavits, none of the affidavits were filed in any court. And that is very important because they're saying that they signed an affidavit. No. These were individuals who manipulated these people who were going back and forth on what to do. They were being manipulated. York's attorneys tampered with the witness trying to get them to change, even giving them baseball cards as part of a bribe. This, like I said, I put this in an article on the website. If I need to pull it up, I can pull it up, and I can pull out all the names if necessary. And Tariq had already made that point clear. So, no, there were no recantments of any of the victims. We no longer have to say alleged because the case is over. York was found guilty, and the victims are what they are, victims of Dr. York.
Okay. What about child molestation on the property, on the land as well? You've been there for a while. Have you witnessed or seen anything, or seen children crying or people coming out of his room? What? Talk to us about that.
Okay. Again, I never lived on Tamaray. I would go down to pick up books, products for my store at a time. I didn't even get into the knowledge of the case until around 2011, when I did get the sealed transcripts, some of the trial notes. So I didn't live in York's house. Now, individuals like Tariq Noel, who was an eyewitness to it, who is one who testified against York, Nicky Lopez.
His son, one of his sons testified too, I heard.
One of his sons testified? Who?
Yeah, testified on Dr. York, brother.
What do you mean? What do you mean he testified?
One of his sons was I think one of his sons was one of the key witnesses of putting Dr. York away. I mean, I know you know that, man.
I think that you're getting some Nuwaupian propaganda mixed up with facts. I'm saying that because I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Jacob York.
Okay.
Jacob York is the fall guy for the Nuwaupian organization. He is persona non grata to them, and they've been making up lies on him, and so literally slandering him and claiming that he set his father up. Now the story changed. They said that he set his father up because his mother was dying, and that his father didn't go and see her to help her. So he was mad with his father, so he made up all this stuff to go and get the FBI to go after his father. Then they said that that because Dr. York didn't help him get a recording contract, he turned against his father and he vowed vengeance against his father. No.
Okay, you could go back to your original story then, brother. Sorry for taking that off.
No. All of that is relative because Jacob York did not testify at the trial. Matter of fact, he wasn't even at the trial. Nuwaupians pushed that because the Nuwaupian organization at the time had said that, Dr. York himself had said that, but when you get down to it, you have individuals who testify to what took place and the molestations that happened to them that never went down to South Beach. I mean, Jacob had already talked about when they went down there, they were just going down there to get away. They had rekindled some old friendships. That was what that was all about. There was no plot to go and get Dr. York. And that's what I always tell people. If Jacob York was such a high-profile character, why didn't they bring him in? Why didn't anybody subpoena him? Why didn't they? They could have just dealt with him as a hostile witness because he had nothing to do with it. It was as simple as that. Jacob York had nothing whatsoever to do with Malachi York being arrested. The people who came out against York were people who lived on the property, who contacted the sheriff, who contacted newspapers, who were putting out emails talking about Dr. York molesting us, molesting children. This was done. Even when I was in D.C., they were coming about saying, "Yeah, he's going down. Yeah, well, he's going down." That's I remember seeing one of the members coming up into one of the stores in D.C. And we were like, "What are they talking about?" And so no, Jacob York has nothing to do with that. And I put out an article on the website. Don't you owe Jacob York an apology? Even some of the older siblings had came to York. Even York's other children came to Jacob York's defense. It's just the Nuwaupians and those neo-Nuwaupians or the latter-day Nuwaupians who know nothing about the story, knowing nothing about it, are the ones pushing that stuff on Facebook and other things because they're just getting fourth-hand information from people who hate Jacob and not even knowing anything about the story. And that you can because I remember even when Quincy Ramesses Richardson, what you call Prince York, was I even have one of his Twitter pages or Instagram, one of them I have where he's hanging out with Jacob York, and he's all happy about that. So he is not the bad guy to the family that everybody is trying to make him out to be. And I told, just like he said, I agree with Jacob on this. They need to sue the Nuwaupian. They don't really have anything, but I think they should file a lawsuit of character assassination on the Nuwaupian organization. But anytime they go out and attack people with slanderous commentaries and writing articles and putting up memes, attacking people like Nicole Lopez or Tariq Noel or Jacob York or Habiba Washington when she was saying that, I can read to you that her last commentary on talking about Malachi York, how he's a child molester, and she was Kathy Johnson. That was one of his main wives. She went to prison. She served her time. She put out a book called The Main Wife, and she apologizes to the victims for her role in some of the sex acts that took place.
Okay.
So you can't. I mean, it's a done deal. You got to deal with the reality of it. But cognitive dissonance is something very severe and runs rampant within the Nuwaupian organization, where they just don't want to deal with the facts.
If you want to leave a strong message, and you want the people to remember about the Nuwaupian nation, what would that be? What would that message be to the family concerning the Nuwaupian nation, brother? For those who would like to be members or whatever.
Essentially, I would say that it's an organization that puts a heavy emphasis on showboating, glamorous outfits. It's like a beautiful gift box with nothing in it. that's how I view the Nuwaupian organization, because when you take the time and you analyze, scrutinize, almost to the point of criticizing the literature. I'm just dealing with the literature by itself. And then you start trying to match dates, words from languages. You try to match what is being said, and you find no evidence to back up about 70% of what they're saying, then I'd say back away from it. It's all it's going to do is suck you in and take your money, because they do ask for lots of money. That was one of the things that was always a given. You always had to send down money. See, when we were Ansars, all the way up in the Holy Tabernacle Ministries and on, you had a daily quota of $100 a day that you had to turn in.
Hold on. You about to say something, I think. Let me first put this out there, and then I'll have you respond to it. My brother Sankofa, out of Boston, he said he was in an Ansar community in Boston, and he said that they will put you out there on the street. You had to work for your tithes and stuff like that, and he said that they will put you to work and expect you to come back with a certain amount of money. And if you didn't meet their quotas or came back with a certain amount of monies, there was a group that I would call hitmen in the back. And if you come back in and you didn't meet their quota, they will give you what was called a universal. This is what the Nation of Guards would call it back in the day. It was called a universal. If you didn't know their lessons, they would get you a universal beatdown. So Sankofa told me they will give you a goddamn ass whooping if you didn't meet their quotas. They don't give a damn about how slow it was. I mean, have you heard of anything like that, man?
Brother, listen. Let me tell you something. That is absolutely 100% true.
Damn. Oh, man.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
Now, in New York, I remember, yes, I remember that, if you didn't meet your quota, and I'm going to give you a story. Now, I got to tell you this story. I really do.
Go ahead.
If you didn't meet your quota, first of all, here's the deal. The person who turns in the most money is always the good man, and you usually had access to the green room. And the green room was a place that you get to take your wife or your girl, and you have sex.
Oh, man. All right. Uh-huh.
All right. And most of the communities had it. In D.C., we had one on Florida Avenue. It was this little rinky shack that had a little pissy mattress, and you take your girl in there, burn some incense, and do your thing, and you come back in the morning. In Baltimore, we had one which was upstairs. And, of course, in New York, you had one that's called the Green Room, where brother said. So in D.C., I'm giving D.C. as an example. If the person
real quick, that remind me. That remind me, like when you upstate and you are in good behavior, you could get a trailer visit. That's the same shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
What do you call it? Connubial visit.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay, so if you if you were the short man, you had to stay on guard duty all day. So say if I come in and I turn in $60. And then I look at who turned in the highest. Somebody turned in 120. Somebody turned in 200. And then me and another brother, we're going to be the two lowest men, and we got to stay in guard all day. That means we got to out at 9 o'clock, stand in guard in the freezing cold, and then we get off at 9 o'clock p.m. And if we fall asleep on guard, the dude that's walking around, he might slap you or pinch you or stick you with a needle and wake you up, and then you tax out. Then you got to stand on guard up until midnight.
Damn, man.
So
it's crazy.
So in DC it was a little. In DC it was. It's a shakedown. So in DC it was a little more lenient. But in New York, you had what was a group who was York's military force called the Mujahideen. You had the Mujahid, and these were men who were big, buffy guys who were York's army who go around, shaking people down, beating them up. That was it. If you come up short and they see that you holding out, they say you stealing from the babies. If you stealing from the babies, they're going to beat you down and then kick you out. So there was an incident that happened. I'm going to give you an example. There was an incident that happened where I was in Baltimore, because by that time we had a brother, everybody knows about Matt Tim, big Puerto Rican brother that came down from out of New York. He replaced this other brother who got sent away for a reason. Now, there was a guy in Baltimore who you know how you take you go to a place and they give you kind of drugs or some money as a test. He took the test. He did one of those things, got paid, and then it kind of did something to the man's mind. So he was on some type of medication, and he was getting a check from the government. So he turned his money in all the time. Whenever he got his check, he got his check thing, right? And so there was one time he only turned in a few dollars, and he was eating some fish and some shrimp fried rice outside on the stoop. And so the brother saw that. He wakes everybody up later on in the night and says there's a family meeting down in the Menzel Robin, down in the store inside the masjid, right? And, we have this trial, and they're putting the brother on trial because they're saying that he's robbing the baby. So they go to his pockets, and they say they find $100 in his pocket. And then Dr. York's is one of his sons, because we had to go up to New York, up in upstate New York, and pull his son, was it Faisal, Abdullah, I can't remember his real name, and one of his daughters. We brought them down. So the brother was looking at York's picture, this picture that you have on the wall called The Lamb, and he's talking to the picture on the wall as if York is telling him what to do. This is Matt Tim. Everybody knows who Matt Tim is. He may rest in peace. But they was decided we were going to take a vote on whether or not to beat this brother up, because this is how it's done in New York. Okay, so he put the vote around, and most of the brothers was like, yeah, I think we should, just go ahead and just kick him out, take the money, and just, send it upstate or send it, to the pops. And, ultimately, when York's son said, well, my father would say, whoop his ass, and then put him out. Ultimately they just put the brother out at 2 o'clock in the morning, nowhere to go, and took his money.
Damn, man.
And that caused my girl. She was so upset about it because he said, I can't be around this kind of. I don't know what kind of people these people are. And she eventually left as a result of that. And that was a norm, because it even happened to me one time in Florida with the brother Kedar, where the brothers had to go through all my clothes. I had to strip down to my underwear because you couldn't get butt naked because in the community, you'll be starting a new race. That was always a phrase, because that whole story about Canaan being turned white. So, I had the same thing happen to me. I just happened to keep the money in my mouth. Never check my mouth.
You said I ain't giving all my money up, goddamn.
Yeah, because we was in Opelika, Florida, and the brothers was doing too good, and I got some folks from home wire me some money, because it was getting rough down there. People wasn't buying stuff because Yahweh Ben Yahweh and them were down there, and they were thinking that Yahweh Ben Yahweh was the Ansars, and they would throw eggs at us, or they say you go Yahweh and we go our way, and it was kind of rough down there. So I had got some money, and then I brought some of the brothers some potato chips and a couple of drinks, and we was walking back to the house, and the brother said, it's ta'am time, meaning it's time to eat and food. And then they said that the brother Idris is stealing from the babies. There's only one baby, and that was his daughter. And so, I was told that I got to go and strip down, and this is how we do it in Philly, and this is how we do it in New York. Well, if you got the money and you're not turning in your money, we're going to beat you down. So that's not a rule, brother.
Well, brother, I know that's right, because that Sankofa was telling me that story. I think I got the video up where he got over 100 and something thousand views on that. It's called When He Used to Be a Nuwaupian Member or something like that, or Ansar. So yeah, but I know. Go ahead.
Let me finish that last point. But
go ahead,
that was a requirement. You had to turn in $100 a day, and that money was sent to York. And it would either be sent up to upstate New York at the time, or when they made the transition down to Georgia. And DC used to always brag, we put $2,000, we send $2,000 bi-weekly. You had to send that money down plus buy products.
No wonder. I used to see them all the time back in the days on the train with the incense, with the pies and all of that stuff, man. I used to see them all the time. But when I used to see them, I was caught up into the world. I was in the world at that time. So when people say to me, Saul, what was you doing when the Ansar Allah community was out? Man, I was selling drugs. What the hell you mean? I ain't know nothing about that. I was in the world. I was a young brother
Yeah.
selling drugs, man. You know, and this is why I'm here doing what I'm doing today, giving back to my people for that. You know, so yeah, that's what I was doing, keeping it real.
Yeah, it was a hustle. I mean, you had listen. If you didn't want to stand on, especially in the wintertime, you didn't want to stand guard all day. And you know, one of the incentives you wanted to get with your girl, you know, you had to kick out. And if you didn't become the top man, you got slack from your girl because she wanted to get some, and you ain't kicking out enough money. You ain't getting none. So
let me ask you, who is Musa in Richmond, Virginia, brother? Who is that?
Musa? Man, it's been so long. I don't know who's in Richmond right now.
All right. Thank you for that $100 donation, family. I knew I would get one before the day is over. I knew I'll get one before the day is over. Thank you, family. Appreciate that. Yes, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah. So I don't know who's down in Richmond right now. A lot of them guys I lost contact with over the years. You know, because you know, here's the thing. A lot of people say, "Well, who is Chuck Morgan?" Yeah. A lot of people didn't know me by Chuck. Chuck Morgan was the name that I grew up with. That was my nickname growing up. You know, everybody knew me when I would have my audio when they would release the CDs. It was Dr. Larry Morgan. Debates with songs. So I think I sent them to you, Doctor this, Doctor that. Yeah, so that's when they knew me by, and people knew me. I was kind of surprised at Ali yesterday because we correspond on Facebook several times, you know. But like I said, a lot of people. I was always doing talk radio. That was my thing. You know, I just wanted to debate with people. You know, that was my thing. Okay. And when I was in Miami, we spent a lot of time down there doing that. So what I do now is I'm offering the people something as a counterpoint. Okay, they have for years put out this narrative of who and what they wanted the people to think and or believe. So here, I'm coming from another angle saying, no, you say, don't believe me, check it out. Okay, I don't believe you. And I did check it out. And here's the evidence to refute what it is that you're saying. So I've been doing it for a while. It's become a success. I like it. It's fun. In addition, I'm educating because I had one brother who was saying, okay, Chuck, you talk all this. What are you teaching? If Wu-Nuwaup is not what we need, then what are you teaching? It's like, that's your problem right there. Because a lot of these guys, they leave various religious organizations because they feel they've been deceived, and then say someone comes along like York, and he sounds good, looks good, and he gives them that Messiah image in their mind, and then I come along, and then I'm attacking that, or I'm beating it up with the facts, and then they turn around, well, what are you teaching? And they're looking for somebody else to follow. I'm like, no, don't follow me. I don't want you. I'm not looking for followers. York was looking for followers. That's why he said, follow me. I am the Messiah that they have been looking for. That's what they're currently saying, that York is the Messiah now. It's in their publications. I just put it out, and I just put it on Facebook.
Yes. And, have you heard of anything by Musa getting beat down by Soul Child or something like that?
Musical Soul Child?
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay. I think that's what my brother is in there trying to say, or something like that. Black World Order. Yeah.
I don't know. I think because I know who that brother is, and I know they're down there, but I don't know. Like I said, when I left, I just maintained contact with some of the teachers. And then as I started questioning from the opposite end, a lot of them just cut me off.
So why did you really leave? Tell us the real reason why you left. Because of these allegations? Because you've been seeing things like molestation? Yeah. Because you've been, why did you leave, brother?
Okay. When I was when the thing hit, me and my girl was laid up, and they called us and said, turn on CNN, and they was telling us what was going on. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't believe anything that they were saying. I was like, oh, he's innocent. I even went on my show and I went on various other shows saying he's a political prisoner, he's innocent of all charges, blah 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 blah. It wasn't until I started going out and people saying, "Dang, brother, you still with that stuff? You know what that man's done?" People stopped buying. People weren't buying my product in various cities. So what I did was I had to, we started having a little deficit as far as the income was concerned, because I was always going out. Like I would go in Baltimore, I'd be at Lexington Market, and I'd be down on there with my table, and I'm trying to sell my publications, and my bookstore's not doing too good because, people are not coming in because this whole controversy going on. All they want to talk about is, did he do it, brother? But nobody wanted to buy anything. So I had to kind of take a step back and try to get my funds together. And in the process, I'm trying to internalize this stuff, and I'm still maintaining that he's innocent. He's innocent. And like I said, it didn't hit me until I got away from it all and stopped listening. I just nothing. I wasn't for about a year, so I wasn't even listening to none of the stuff. But I just kept the books with me. I kept them, in my trunk. And then I eventually put up one. And then as I started going in asking questions, and it got more and more popular, people started attacking me. Calling me all kinds of names and making up stuff about me. And so what had happened was a good brother gave me access to some of the trial transcripts, because I didn't want to know anything. Hear me out. I didn't want to know anything about the trial. I didn't want to know anything about what he was alleged to have done at that time. That's my mindset, alleged at that time. Mm-hmm. So when the people were attacking me, the only way that this person helped me to fight back, it was Wu-Nuwaup. Everybody knows that. It was Brother Wu-Nuwaup was the one that helped me to be able to bounce back by giving me information that I hadn't even known. So I studied all of the trial notes and the trial transcripts. And that, I'm reading what the prosecution is saying, I'm listening to what the defense is saying, and I came to my conclusion. Dang. And I'm looking at the evidences, and I'm looking at what's being brought out in the testimony, corroborating evidence, and on and on and on. That's what solidified it for me. When I had access to the trial transcript, as if I was there as a spectator in the jury. Mm-hmm. That did it for me.
All right, brother. So what I want to do. Yeah, what I want to do now is open up the phone line for questions. Are you available for that, brother?
Sure.
Are there any questions off the table, or you just no holds barred? What's up?
Bring it on. I'm just being me. What do you mean? What is it? No
right.
Holds barred.
All right, here we go, family. We opening up the phone lines for the questions. Let's get it.
Unknown caller.
Peace and Black Power, family. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Petty. I'm calling from Stone Mountain, Georgia area.
Can you hear him, brother Chuck?
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on, my brother? What's your name? I mean, I got that already. What's your question? We got Chuck Morgan on the line as the guest today. What's your question, brother?
Well, it's not so much a question. It's so much a concern. Me being a student teacher of Dr. York now for 30-some-odd years.
Uh-oh.
My issue with Chuck is everything this brother's been saying about the nation is just nasty lies.
How do you know it's a lie, brother? You got to be able to back that up. Let's go.
Well, I've been in the organization for 30-some-odd years. So I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in the community that was in North Carolina. And he is the one that is putting out all of this particular information, and he's just making a ton of claims, which is all he's ever done. And he acts as if he's producing facts, and he's distorting a lot of the information. So that's where the problem is.
Can you give us an example, brother, of what he's distorting?
Well, I mean, let's just deal with what he was saying about the case itself. The claim that he tried to twist the story about the individuals like Tariq, who testified that Dr. York did all of these things to him. Then Tariq turns around and recants the statement. And then he tries to make an argument that he only recanted his statement because he was coerced by the nation. That's absolutely silliness. He wrote two recantments.
Can you hear me?
And so,
can you hear me?
Hold on, Chuck. Let him finish, Chuck. You're gonna get it in.
And so he put. If you look at Tariq's recantment, one of the things that you will notice that he puts in there is he talks about how there were two FBI agents he actually that's listed in there that he claims coerced him. So now he tells a story because he was on your show, where he tells the story that he only recanted, like Chuck is trying to say, is because, I don't know, he's doing something for the Nuwaupian nation. And then he said he wants to now tell the truth because of the fact that he feared for his family or something like that, which absolutely makes no sense when he says that Dr. York at the same time wasn't a violent person, nor do we have a violent organization. So I don't know where he gets the claim that he's in fear for anything. The point I'm saying is 1 minute he tells a story, next minute he doesn't. He recants the story, then he recants his recantment. Now, Chuck Charles makes the argument that by Nuwaupian saying the recantment wasn't done on the court, the court documents. That's not what Nuwaupians are trying. That's not the point that we were trying to make. The point we were trying to make was that this individual initially claimed that these things happened, then turned around and said that these things did not happen, then turns around and say, well, no, these things did happen. And then he tries to give an argument why he's flip-flopping his story. But he doesn't want to tell the fact that anyone who makes a testimony to the FBI, like he claimed he did, and then he tries to change that story, like Habiba Washington, they could be tried. And they could go to jail, which is why that stuff wasn't going to be put on the court documents, because they wasn't going to stand on that stuff, because they could be tried for perjury. So to make an argument, a one-sided argument, by the way, to sit there and say why they're changing their story as if 1 minute they're trying to help Dr. York when they clearly said lies about
all right,
it.
All right. Let the brother answer you, my brother, and you can stay on while he talks to you. But just don't cut him off. Let him answer you. Just give him the same respect he gave you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Sure. Okay. Very, very simple. Now, as I said, Tariq holds that position today the same as he did from when he first came up and said that these things happen. Now, in regards to flip-flopping or saying that he say one thing and then he changed it and then he changed it again, if that is what you're saying and you're using as a reason to doubt, then you're going to have to use that same logic against York, because initially York pled innocent. Then he came and said that he was guilty, and then he says he was innocent. So you can't have it the same way. So the same thing that you're trying to label against Tariq Noel, then you're going to have to also do it to York, because first York said he was innocent, and then he pled guilty in both state and federal. And then when his federal guilty plea was rejected, it went to court. He maintained that he was innocent. So you can't have it both ways. In regard to Habiba Washington, he went through the hearing, and when the questions were asked to her, if what her statements were to be truthful on that video and the affidavit that all the victims had to sign, she maintained her initial statements that what she said at trial was true. She was molested, and her last statement on that she sent out to the public because they started attacking her. And I want to read this. This is from Habiba Washington. These are my last and final words to you Malachi Dwight York, so you can stop sending your goons my way. I curse you. I curse the day you were born. I curse the very womb that birthed you. I curse I get the shit coat you born. You born. I curse. I curse you for hurting your own kind. I curse you for all the children who grew up without a mommy and a daddy, without aunties and uncles, without grandmas and grandpas. For every night I spent without my mother, I curse you. For turning the heart of my father, I curse you. For keeping me away from my sisters and brothers, I curse you. For all the little boys you raped, I curse you. For all the times those boys bled and cried, I curse you. For all the little girls you raped and defiled, I curse you. For all the times those girls cried and didn't fear, I curse you. You said almost finished. For all the mothers and fathers who have known pain and suffering in the name of blind sacrifice, I curse you. For the son I lost, I curse you. I curse you sevenfold. So the next time you dare to send a message to me, here is all I have to say. While you meditate and chant your dark wishes, I pray that you live long enough to see your own face burn. I say. The people.
Okay, can I respond?
One moment. The people that York harmed during the course of his reign in sexual molestation, these people have come forward, and each time they came forward, they were being attacked, because the unfortunate thing is they were being attacked by an organization. So a lot of the sneakier individuals in the organization were trying to get them to change their statement. And Tariq Noel has already spoken about this, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to speak on it again. And so all I was just doing was given an opportunity to show that what people are referring to as a recantment and what is submitted in court. Hey, if y'all say that Habiba Washington recanted or that York pled guilty, you can't have it both ways. Either York was guilty when he said he was, or he was innocent. So which is it? Why did he plead guilty?
Can I respond?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, brother.
Okay. All right. So here's my point. And this is about credibility, right? And I'll address the York scenario. So you have the alleged victims that one minute they say he did it, next minute he didn't do it, next minute they turn around and say he didn't do it. And then next minute, they said he did it again. And he's trying to argue there's nothing wrong with them changing their story because of the simple fact that York changed his story. It's the same thing. People can change their story. So right there, with that being the case, and I listened to why Tariq said he changed his story. I also listened to why Habiba said she changed the story, right? And they give this argument of pressure, okay? And so I'm saying, well, that could be possibly true, but it can also be as equally true. The reason why they didn't want to come full force with their story because they would get in trouble. But no one wants to talk about that because they would be violating law. Whenever you give testimony to the FBI, that goes on record. That's what they call a 302 statement that you file. And if you begin to contradict that information, you can go to jail. So who you think they're going to be afraid of more? They're going to be afraid of the Nuwaupian Nation or the FBI? Anyone should know that. Now, when it comes to Dr. York changing his plea, you overlook the simple fact it's called a plea bargain. They're making a deal. His lawyers were making that type of deal. So pleading guilty to any charge in any criminal court case has nothing to do whether or not you did the incident or not. All it means is whether or not you can either prove your innocence or not. And according to Dr. York, he explains in detail why he took that plea. If anybody can do this, go get the court transcript pertaining to the plea hearing. And the judge asked him clearly, why are you changing your plea? And he makes it very clear, I never wanted to make that plea. The lawyers pressured me to make that plea. This is what he said to the judge. He said the lawyers told him they cannot win the case. The lawyers told him he can get as much as 1,000 years. Not to mention, he explained to the judge that they kept him under sleep deprivation, the conditions they had him in the prison, the fact that he didn't have access to his trial paperwork, so he didn't know what was going on. And that's what Dr. York said at the time of the plea hearing when the plea was being changed from guilty to innocent. So my point is, according to Dr. York and according to what he said in those trial transcripts, he said his lawyers, now think about this, if you have lawyers that they paid $1 million for, that told you, well, we can't win this case, and it's better for you to just take a deal, what decisions, what options do you have? If you have that kind of attorney telling you that, again, people keep forgetting. They don't understand this system of government. It has nothing to do whether or not something is true or false, whether it happened or not. It's whether or not you can prove you're innocent. Because any black person that gets arrested and tried in this country is automatically guilty. Go study, what's her name? Michelle Alexander, who was supposed to New Jim Crow, where it's been documented and proved that black people are convicted twice as much. Hold on, it's twice as much as any white person, and you're automatically trying to prove you're innocent. So my argument is the reason why that plea was even taken, according to Dr. York in those transcripts, is because he had a counsel that was telling him to do that.
Why would
and that was what was told to the judge. So my point is that's where the flip-flopping comes into play. And he made it clear he didn't want an attorney. And that's also in the trial transcripts.
Okay, can I respond to that now?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, Tariq was so hurt by the Nuwaupians to sign a note, and the Nuwaupian used his mother as leverage. In regards to, no, that's factual thing. Now,
that's not fact. That's hearsay.
Hold on for 1 minute, y'all. Hold on for 1 minute. Everybody hold on. Family, I am not being rude. I thought I turned it down as long as I could because I'm trying to play the music in the background, to bring a little, some powerful shit to it. So I guess it's not working. The volume is up loud. I don't know. I tried to turn it down, but it's not working, so I won't play the music no more. Go ahead, Brother Chuck. Go ahead.
Okay. I had asked the brother, I asked him, why did he plead guilty? And you haven't given me the answer. And if you're actually being truthful in what you're saying, to go back and look in this transcript or that transcript, I had already put on my website why York was pleading guilty. First of all,
I said you're lying.
Okay, well,
you're lying, and I put. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm not. I'm
talk over you. Yep.
Go ahead, finish.
So, the reason that York pled guilty was because his attorneys found that to be really difficult for him to be able to say that he had not molested children when several children tested positive for the herpes simplex 1 and 2 that York had. So that was the reasoning why York had pled guilty, because of the blood work that came back. That is the reason why. Now, Stanford University Medical Center, that was what was brought up, and they even had the hearing. I don't know why you didn't bring that up. But that was already brought up. And even in the Nuwaupians, when they put out medical records don't lie, they didn't seem to put out, they saying that, well, he didn't have this and that, but they didn't point out the test that tested where he was proven to have had herpes simplex 2. Now, on 7/29/2002, 68 motion by USA versus Dwight York to authorize Stanford University Medical Center to analyze the defendant's blood for herpes simplex 1 and 2. Okay, and that was at 7/29/02. A motion was filed by the government for a specific medical exam for herpes. And the motion was as a result of the government wanting to test York to see if he had herpes, as did 2 of the listed victims. And we know this to be a fact because Adrian Patrick, York's attorney, and Richard Moultrie, they're arguing before the judge on how that evidence should not have to be brought up during the trial. Now, I have put this on my website, and I can go read what Adrian Patrick said, what Richard Moultrie, the prosecutor, said, and what the judge said.
Can I respond?
Adrian, one moment. Adrian Patrick, Your Honor, if I may, I'll just wait until Mr. Moultrie finishes. Richard Moultrie said, it will be, Your Honor, a jury issue, and that it is for a jury to determine the weight of that kind of evidence, the weight of its relevance. Obviously, the court may elect to exclude it, but we certainly don't want it to be in position, be a position. Your Honor, of the government to put in the physical findings of the victim and not offer all of the physical findings for this particular child also was positive for a sexually transmitted disease that the government didn't introduce. And then if you read it, and if I have to, I'll be more than happy to read the whole thing. But here we have Richard Moultrie, the prosecutor, and Adrian Patrick.
I'm aware of all that. I'm aware of all that.
You may be.
Can I respond?
Aware of it. When I get
Let
me finish. You may be aware of it. Unfortunately, you didn't bring it up when I asked you. But the audience,
because it was not relevant.
No, it is absolutely relevant. How could it not be relevant when the man played guilty?
You want me to respond? I'll respond.
Brother,
I'll respond.
Hold on, brother. You got to let him finish. You got to let him finish, and then you can respond.
Let me talk. I was nice enough to be quiet while you spoke. Now be cool and just listen. When York pled guilty to child molestation charges in the state and in the federal, this was after he had pled innocent. Remember, initially in 2002, he pled innocent, and then 2003. And then the smoke screen that they put out to the public was that, oh, he was being tortured. He was under duress. He was this and he was that. And then they said that, well, he pled guilty to save the sisters that were also that were also incarcerated, like his wife and the other 2 sisters. But that can't be true because all of them were already out by the time York had pled guilty. So that can't be true. So they have to give you these smoke screens and lies just so that you stay away from the facts. Now, you can go.
Go ahead, brother.
So now, in regards to...
And brother, this is your last one because I want to open up the line for other people.
That's fine.
So make this a strong point, brother. Go ahead.
In regards to the medical issue, right, and him trying to make the argument this is why he pled guilty because of this so-called medical evidence. First of all, people have to understand this whole herpes thing, herpes simplex 1 and herpes simplex 2. That does not, and I repeat, me having herpes and some female having herpes does not mean I gave her herpes. Anybody needs to do this. Herpes 1 and herpes 2. Look it up. Look how many millions of people had that so-called disease. So that's step 1. That's not some rare disease that Dr. York carries. And if anyone who has that particular illness, it would automatically mean that he gave it to them. That's a huge distortion. And that's also to imply that all of the victims we don't even know I don't even know who the actual victims that tested positive for this, but that's to imply that they were virgins. And so that's the whole other issue. That doesn't mean that they didn't have sexual partners because they made it clear that these individuals were sexually active at the time that they could have been tested. So to sit there and say that he gave them a particular disease that millions of people had is absolutely ridiculous. And to assume that they wasn't sexually active, that they could have contracted this other ways, is that just makes no sense. And it goes back to my point. My initial point is that he had attorneys that were arguing they could not win the case. That has nothing to do whether or not it happened or not. That's not what law is about. Law is about is whether or not you can win the case or not. So it has nothing to do about the truth of the facts. So to try to distort just because he lost the case, that proves your point, is completely ludicrous. Not to mention this point. There's allegedly 18 victims that allegedly said this happened to them. And this happened, they claim, over a period of 9 years. And allegedly that these victims are saying he was having sex with at least one of them every day. Now, your boy Rick, a.k.a. Wu-Nuwaup, that you had on the phone, when y'all asked him, what did he do? What was people doing on the land when they found out that when the master teacher, Dr. York, was arrested? He said all the adults on the land was totally shocked. They did not know that this was going on. So how in the world can you have 18 alleged victims, him have sex with them every day? You only have less than, 200 people that live in the community, and no one knows this? No one knows what was happening? That's absolutely insane. How can that secret?
The brother have a point. The brother have a point there, y'all. He got a point.
None of the parents knew this. None of the parents argued this. And Rick, ask Rick, again, he's on tape. He said they were shocked. And he said they asked the children, and they denied. When they initially asked them, they denied. So my point that I'm making, you know how many people come, how many children have come and go in the community in Bushwick and Brooklyn? It's absolutely ridiculous what you're trying to argue, to sit there and say that this happened when it's been proven that they all plotted to bring this story up. And to sit there and say that Jacob had nothing to do with this, that's because you don't know Jacob. I know Jacob. Tim and I used to hang out. I lived in Brooklyn. So don't tell me what you know versus what you don't know. You're trying to paint a picture as if you were there. You wasn't the only person there. No, first of all, stop lying and saying you personally knew Dr. York. You, like every other student, you had a student-teacher relationship with him, not a personal relationship with him. That's another lie. So my point, all I'm saying is that what he's saying in regards to the facts of the case, that's a lie. When he's saying in regards to adoption, that's a whole nother animal. A whole nother animal, which in fact, I put out a lot of videos rebutting a lot of stuff, a lot of the slander that he's been saying. All you got to do is go to nupu.org.
All right, where can they go to see your where can they go to see your stuff, brother? Go ahead before you leave out of here. Drop it.
It's on nupu.org. In fact, we did a video, what's that? Lies taught by slanderers of Dr. York. I forget the name of it we put out, but the three great lies taught by slanderers of Dr. York, York, and we put out twice. If you look at a lot of our videos, you'll see that we've been rebutting a lot of the nasty and negative stuff he said pertaining to our doctrine. That's just a whole distortion of our doctrine and a whole nasty lie about what was going on in the community about the Mujahid. You guys are nasty lying.
All right.
It's disgusting what you guys are saying.
All right. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate your call. Thanks a lot.
All right. Let me.
Hold on, brother.
I just want to hear that last part.
All right. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Let me get rid of the call first because I know he's going to want to come back. And that's it. I want to move on to the next caller. So, Brother Chuck Morgan.
I just want to finish this last part.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, that last part. First of all, I'm just touch on something. Number one, no one said that Dr. York was having sex with victims every day. That is not something that is said. That is something that Nuwaupians are saying. That was something that was used because they tried to say that York suffered from hereditary angioedema, and that it causes one to be less inclined, or it causes them to be somewhat lacking in having a sex drive. So they're saying that if that were the case, how could he have had, because Polite has said that one, Brother Polite has said that one time, how could he have had sex with all these people, yet he has hereditary angioedema, and angioedema, you'll have a low sex drive, but they can't seem to explain why York has over 100 children.
Damn, man.
That part is non.
Okay. All right. I want to give a.
Let me get this last part. Yeah. Let me get this last part. The last part is that as far as the herpes thing, number one, no one says that person A with herpes gives person B herpes who tested positive, and no one's claimed that. That brother was given what's called a slippery slope logical fallacy. Because if this is this, then it's naturally that. And then it's going on for this and that. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that York's attorneys saw the fact that, well, once his blood work came back and two of the victims who were, now, if they were sexually active, now that's something that they need to find out who they had sex with, because apparently York had the same herpes simplex that a couple of the victims had, and they were in his care, and they were raised on the land by York.
All right.
They didn't go anywhere.
All right. I want to give a strong, powerful Black Power shout out to three powerful scholars in the building. One of them is a scholar in the Meru Netta. If you want to learn anything about that, we got Ujaro in the building. Ujaro Ma'at. He's here in the building. He said, man, you made a mistake calling out his name. I don't know what that means, but that means he might be going to do some research. So we got Ujaro in the building. Another strong warrior. Another strong warrior and soldier who is a scholar when it comes to Moorish science, and he goes by the name of Lord Abba. Lord Abba is also in the building, and he said that Brother Chuck Morgan work is sufficient. I'm paraphrasing now because I forgot the comment passed a long time ago. He says Chuck Morgan work is definitely sufficient, and he's been doing a lot of research on it. He encouraged people to go to the Nuwaupianism.com, go to Chuck Morgan's website. You can see it for yourself. He got the information up there. He ain't just talking. And another powerful shout out who is of the Hebrew Israelite camp, not the Captain Tazariak and them Hebrews that's on the street. He is an Old Testament Hebrew, and he goes by the name of Divine Prospect, who will be on Two Worlds Collide, Clash of the Titans, when I get this brother to have a discussion with him, one of the Nuwaupians that I will be bringing on to sit down with Brother Divine Prospect on Hebrew versus the Nuwaupian doctrine, whatever the topic they come up with. And family, man, listen, man, this is powerful. I'm glad I did have some time to bring Brother Chuck Morgan on. To me, I don't hear out of Chuck Morgan, I don't hear hate coming from this brother. I hear, this brother is definitely qualified. And also the other brother that been on too, Chuck, he been in this thing for like damn near 30 years. He's saying he has never seen this. And he's from out of Brooklyn or something like that. So I don't know. It's still weighing in the balance there, brother. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, brother.
When a person is molesting children, do you think that they broadcast it before everyone? I think that is
no. But now what I want to ask you, Chuck, is that where were the men on the land when these children was getting molested? Where was they at? Right. And why didn't they come out? I mean, what's going on?
Check this out. Here we go. Number one, you got to understand how the structure of the community was set up. The men were segregated from the women, meaning the men lived in the barn, the women stayed in the women's quarters. Then you had the kids who stayed in the little girl's house. You had the teenagers who stayed in the house. That was how it was structured. It had always been that way, as living there as ancestors. And so a lot of the men who spent most of their time, who lived on the land, they were out building those beautiful structures that they had on the land at the time. So even the brother Bun that everyone seems to know about, everybody knows Bun. Brother Bun, he was a strong advocate of York. But it turns out that his two daughters, who were the listed victims, they were molested by York, and they came out and told him, because of course, initially, they're going to say nothing happened to them. That's what all children of sexual molestation do. They even said that. York said, don't tell anyone. That should be no surprise. Duh. Of course they're told not to say anything. And that's what they said initially, that nothing happened. But as they grew older and they got away, and once York was safely locked away, they came out. When an individual by the name of Easter Johnson put a poem out about his molestation by way of York, and people were praising him, and then others on the Facebook chat were going back and forth. The victims, some who had initially said nothing happened, they were coming out because they got support. They realized that now they have support, because before, no one was allowing the victims to hear their side. They had to go in secret. They had been attacked. They're not going to say, of course they didn't say that anything happened. But when now we know that they're all victims, all the people who testified on York's behalf have come out since then and said that it did happen. So if York went to trial today, all the people who spoke on his behalf and said that nothing happened, all of them are now saying that they were molested. You got some victims that can't even have babies now because York, when he molested them, and those diseases that he spread on them had affected their womb to the point where they can't even conceive.
All right, all right, brother. I want to answer the phone because you hear this shit going off. A lot of people in the building. Let me give another strong shout out. Another strong shout out to a powerful soldier in the building. He go by the name of Captain Tzoriak. And a lot of these brothers that was in here, they was in the Nuwaupian nation. So it ain't like they just talking. I know Lord Abba used to be a member of the Nuwaupian. My man Unk from the Armin-Ra squad. Brother Ujaru used to be a member. I don't know if Captain Tzoriak ever lived on the land or not. Hey, Captain, was you ever a member, Captain, before you went over to the ISUPK, Captain? I don't know. Maybe you got to put that in there for clarity. I think Captain used to live on the land. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey, but son, real quick.
Yes, sir, brother. Go ahead.
Because I noticed that you keep saying living on the land. You got to remember that only a small segment of the cult actually lived on the property. Okay. Only a selected few, only chosen. Right. A lot of us live in what's satellite communities, which was the finances that kept that place going. Of course, they had stores in Georgia and they had a little bookstore on the land, but the bigger picture of members, they lived in various communities or tabernacles. So you had brothers who had specialty skills like carpentry or who had other types of skills. They were utilized and then they were brought on the land to work.
All right, let me get these callers, brother. They going crazy, man. They want to get in. Go ahead. Let's get them.
Call from unknown caller.
Peace and Black Power family. What's your name? Where you calling from? We got Chuck Morgan on the line. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's good, Sinetta? This Sister Nandy, third generation Panthers in Atlanta.
Okay, you calling out of Atlanta. All right. I know you probably got a powerful question for the brother. You was down there when Dr. York was building the land down there. Have you ever visited down there?
I got a couple of things. I've been listening since last night, right? And covering the story. And the first and foremost thing, Brother Ali, I give him his credit. He was honest to a point. But these Nuwaupians, one thing that they did learn from their father is how to curve their lies and deceitful methods. And I have to be honest. I understand what he's saying about certain things and techniques that the government uses when they do manipulate us into certain plea bargains. However, though, sir, it's impossible for all of these children to have been tested, DNA, semen, and all of this other stuff. See, they're not going into the credentials of the case. The semen matched everything when all of this stuff was taking place when they did the DNA testing. This is why he copped the plea. See, when your back is against the wall, you will have to come clean and put yourself in a position. What saddens me about the conscious community is that we all see what's going on, and instead of us being realistic about this and stop being biased, a pedophile is a damn pedophile. If we can go hard on African Bambaataa, if we can go hard on the Pope, if we can go hard on Bill Cosby and everybody else, then Malachi York is nobody different, especially when you're entering into our black people's mentality and leading them to believe that they're going towards freedom. Yeah, his credentials and his work and techniques is very strategic in order to pull us in. But if your method is just to lead us to slaughter like Martin Luther King, then you're no different than the rest of the fellows that's in the community. Okay, I just wanted to ask a question now.
Go ahead.
He made his points about all things about his father. But what I'm not understanding, I think that some of them are going hard. My question is this. Have any of you all been victims of your father's situation? You know, is it a issue of where you all are, I guess, trying to cover up some things because maybe some of y'all might be affiliate in love, and don't take this to offense, or idol worshiping Malachi York to the point where maybe some of you all have been manipulated in situations to the point you're trying to cover up, and you know what he did. If he's actually sorry or apologetic for what he did, then the first thing that we do in the black community is we come clean about what we have done and we show methods of change. But when you are continuously lying and covering up those particular things, then we have a problem with that. So the question is, are any of you all victims, and are you all really for the community? Because if you are, is he rehabilitated, or is he just trying to reinstate himself to do this to more children? And thank you, Brother Shanetta. Those are my two questions for the brother.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, brother.
I really didn't get the question other than I was never molested by York. I'm not really following that question. Sorry.
Let me reiterate the question. Let me reiterate the question. Okay. The question was this: have you all ever been any victims of your father's mentality or any of the things that he's done to these children as far as being molested? Secondary, are you all just helping him cover up everything in order to continue the movement and manipulate our people into coming into another pedophile system?
Oh, sister, you know what it is? Let me tell you, I think you don't know who this brother is. He's not pro-York teachings or what he's doing. You got the wrong brother right here. This one is speaking against, and he's going against what Dr. York had been doing and teaching. That's who this brother is. Yesterday, I brought on Ali, where he was in support of what his father was doing. This brother is totally against what Dr. York had been doing and teaching. That's what this brother is here.
Okay, I strenuously apologize, sir.
Yes.
I strenuously apologize. I'm just kind of agreeing, with Shanetta. I'm like, what the hell? Got all these things that has piled up, and this is what we have been taught by Dr. TV and everybody.
Yes.
To do our research.
All right. Thank you, sis.
I'm sitting here looking at research, and I know certain things. I apologize again, sir. I wasn't trying to come out. Those were just my points.
Yes. No problem. You don't need to apologize. Thank you, Queen.
No, man.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Hey, Brother Chuck, let me ask you this, brother. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
With all of the beautiful women Dr. York had, are you trying to tell us, brother, that somewhere in his mind he was a sick man, where he would look past all of these beautiful women he had and would go to a 10-year-old little boy and seek pleasure in a 10-year-old boy? Brother, you don't think for 1 minute maybe the FBI, the government, is really trying to take this man down because they see what he is trying to do. So with all of these beautiful women he had under his goddamn feet, brother, that's why it's kind of hard for me to say he was messing with these little boys, 10-year-old, 11-year-old. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying it's kind of hard for me with these beautiful women he had at his fingertips, brother. For he had something wrong with him. He was a sick man to mess with little boys, brother. Are you trying to
That's right.
put that over to the people, brother?
What I'm doing is I'm just going according to the facts. Now, let me say this to you, because again, that's another slippery slope argument. Here's the fact. Here's the deal on that. First of all, you have to understand that Malachi York was a sex act. We know this because he has over 100 children. Okay, that is documented. That is a known fact. He had 51 sons and 47 daughters. Now, Now,
brother, hold on for 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm gonna let you go.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not prove nothing, because I'm quite sure I'm 55. If my sisters would have kept every child that I had impregnated in her, I probably would have had over 50 or 75 children. And I'm quite sure many of us out there would have had probably 100 children or 50. I'm not making no excuse for him, but I'm just saying you got to come with something better than that. Because Dr. York chose, hold on, brother. Dr. York chose to keep his seed. On our end, we probably was like, oh man, I can't afford all them children. You know what I'm saying? So if I would have kept all of mine, or my women would have probably kept all of hers when we was young, I probably would have had like damn near 50 of them. So go ahead, brother. I'm just saying, come with a stronger argument.
Okay. No, well, I fully understand your position, where you're coming from. But the unfortunate reality is that this is what York did. And this is what the evidence that came out, the corroborating evidence, the circumstantial evidence, and the witness testimonies, and the individuals who participated in the sex act. Now, what happens is people want to blame the FBI for something when they hadn't even dealt with it, because it was the people who lived on the property, the kids, the teenagers who lived on the property. What they did was they contacted people outside of the community and told them what was going on. There were people who left the community to tell what was going on. So the FBI and the local sheriff's department didn't get involved until other individuals came out and were starting to talk about it. So this is now to people who just coming into this thing. No, this is not some government conspiracy. Number one, the garbage that York taught. If you were to take the teachings of Dr. York, you can clearly see he was not a threat to any government. When he started talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being a fake alien, and that Master Prophet Muhammad comes from the planet Venus, and all of these crazy stories that he performed miracles and he could dematerialize instantly when the police came to get him in Brooklyn, in the book A Man of Miracles, he said that he just dematerialized into another part of the street. You cannot tell me that this person who was diagnosed as being a delusional, paranoid schizophrenic, that he was a threat to the government. Now, granted, York was a very gifted individual who had the gift of gab. He was a very charismatic individual. But when you slow down all the showboating and all of the rhetoric and start applying logic and historical connections to what the person is saying, then you'll prove him to be false. You'll prove him to be a pseudo teacher. So he was not a threat. He was no more a threat than any other person who's out teaching crazy stuff like the guys from Heaven's Gate. He was not a threat. So as far as the children are concerned, now you even had a lot of the children a lot of the babies that were born during that period of 94 to 97, a lot of them were underage children. Now, people seem to forget the fact, and I want you to focus on this, and this is going to answer. I'm going to give you one example. Number one, You said that with all those beautiful women, which they were, and some still are, with all those beautiful women that he had access to, all the brothers' wives that he took, why would he trust you? Do you not realize that the sister Habiba Washington was a child when she gave birth to her son, her late son, Enlil? That was a child. She wasn't an adult. She testified that she was first fondled by York at age 13. when the DNA results, when the blood work results came back establishing paternity, that York was the father of Habiba Washington's son, Habiba was not an adult yet. Another sister that testified who worked in the office, she had a baby by York at age 14. This was established at the trial. Shout out
to High Priest Daniel Allah. Daniel Allah, he's bad when it comes to this science too now. Go ahead, brother. Sorry about that, Chuck.
That's my brother. Shout out to Daniel Allah. And I love all them brothers. Brothers are good. I mean, but I don't want to get sidetracked. But that right there should make you question what you just asked. If with all those beautiful women, why did he go to children?
With all them beautiful women.
Yeah. And I just gave you an answer because of his desire for them. The girl, I'm just making her as a clear example. And not to mention the fact
so in other words, brother, that he was a sick man, you saying?
Yes, he was a sick man. And it's still a sick man because he never got any help for his addiction and his sickness. Mm-hmm. He's in prison for 135 years, okay? So he's not going to get out. That's a death sentence. So he never is going to get any medical treatment for his addiction, his sickness. So yes, he did with all those beautiful women as a major player in the game, but at the same time, he had desires for girls and boys, and this is what led him to his own destruction. York was brought down by York. York's activities brought him down, not the government. All they did was came as an aftereffect as the process goes. But he did it to himself. Had he not touched those boys and girls, maybe he would have been something. But he destroyed it all. He did it to himself. Just like he liked to say, I created the doctrine and I can destroy it. Well, he did it. And remember what York said. You got to remember this. I don't know if you know this. He said, if you are in control of all things, you are where you are supposed to be. This is York in the Holy Tablet saying, you are where you are supposed to be because you are in control of all things. So Malachi York is in prison today. That is where he is supposed to be.
Okay, so brother, I want to let everybody know that I have a member of the Nuwaupian nation out of Brooklyn. He will be on my show at 5 o'clock to clear this up, and then we're going to move on from here. But I want to give proper time to the other brother to come on, and he know who you are, Chuck. He knows you, and but this brother is an actual member. Y'all probably know him. He goes by the name of Pharaoh. This is the brother that I interviewed in Brooklyn, and he said he never said that they got the green light to march in the parade. So we're going to let him clear that up. We're going to let him clear that up. I don't know what I heard, but I thought I heard him say. Y'all could go back to the video.
Sonetta.
Yes.
Listen, if you go to one of their videos, in the Nuwaupian videos, they put a video out where they were reading what is supposed to be the words of York because someone goes down and he supposed to be writing something or articulating something to them, and these are the updates and to keep you up to date on what quote unquote the master is saying. And he was saying, according to those, as a matter of fact, it was the brother Topper who was a member and who's a hardcore member who was there all the way back. He was up there reading of what is supposed to be the words of York, saying that they are to take part in the gay pride parade. That's what Topper is saying that York is saying.
See?
It's documented because we got the video. So anyone coming and saying that, see now when the pressure starts coming down, now they got this. This is typical of Nuwaupian.
Okay.
This is Nuwaupianism at work.
Hey Chuck, let me say this real quick. You know Captain Tazariak, right?
Yeah.
He said he's in the chat room. He said he would love to bring you on his show. So I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text him your number, and maybe after the show he can talk to you or something like that. All right, brother?
Yeah. We talked before. Yeah, good brother.
Okay. Yes, he said he would like to bring you on Cross the Line Radio on his show, brother.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, so I'm going to send him your number when I get a chance. So go ahead, finish saying what you're saying. You're saying when it gets thick for them, now they're trying to backtrack or something.
When this is exactly what they constantly do. Now they got to backtrack and say, oh, well, we don't, not all, because see, you got to understand there are fractions within the Nuwaupian cult. There are some who hold on to the old Ansar doctrine. There are some who hold on to the Holy Tabernacle Ministry doctrine. There are some who maintain the ancient Egyptian order doctrine. Then you got, it's fragmented. You got those who still call themselves the Yamati Nuwaupian Nation of Moors with the B versus the P. And they got this little internal conflict. So they're not even organized with amongst themselves. So, yeah, now they're going to have to say, well, we don't mean like gay pride. They're going to have to try to in some way alter what was supposed to have been coming down the pipe from York himself.
Okay, brother. I'm going to take one more caller. Who's going to be the lucky one? And, brother, we're going to have to do a part 2, maybe, because some of the people were saying, Sir, you got to bring him in so he can show his slides. So I would like to do a part 2 with you probably next week, and where you can show your slides and stuff.
Call from unknown caller. To accept, press 1.
All right, this is the last caller right here because I got to get ready for the other brother. Peace and black power to you. What's your name and where you calling from?
Peace out, man. It's Stephen Thomas from Bowling Green, Kentucky, calling in again.
All right, what's happening, man?
Night. Is Brother Chuck on the line?
Yes, Brother Chuck is on the line.
All right, Brother Chuck. Chuck, how you doing today?
All is well.
All right, it's good. It's good. Man, it's fascinating because for a while I didn't want to believe that Dr. York created a sick environment. I didn't want to believe it, and I didn't even know the guy, just because he's a brother, right? Mm-hmm. So you can imagine. So it takes me to a place where imagining being inside the organization and dealing with finding out that you say you was in the organization for over 30 years, right? Am I correct?
No. My time was about a little over 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, the other brother that was on for 30 years.
Okay, I apologize. So 15 years, and you're seeing that the atmosphere is becoming a little sick. Not the Chattanooga station, but how people were treated, and what?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
From what I got from you, it just seemed like the atmosphere was kind of sick of how they treated people, and what you had to pay $100 a day and all that, right? It seemed like something wasn't right. Am I correct?
Well, that's true. And see, this is something that you understand. It was justified because this is supposed to be for the mission. The mission was that you raise 144,000 children that will not be defiled by the harlot, as the book of Revelation 21, Revelation 21 talks about. And so you made certain sacrifices, or you were told that whatever sacrifices or whatever pains and hardships and suffering that you had to endure, it was for the children, because those children had to come. Those children will be taken up in the spaceship and taken to the Crystal City on the Bureau, and then come back and be your salvation. I don't know why people don't seem to want to talk about that, but that is the core of Nuwaupian doctrine when they start talking about spaceships and then Malachi York being from another planet, and that he came to Earth on the planet Nibiru, on a ship Nibiru. And these children, after they were raised, they were to be taken up for a day or 1,000 years, and then come back to Earth and be our salvation. So the money was all designed. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't cut you off. I'll go ahead and finish.
No, I'm just saying that those were the justifications on why you had to do that. Remember, York said that y'all had to sleep. I had y'all sleeping on hard floors, and y'all had to live around roaches and rats. I had y'all living like that. Now, this is what Nuwaupians will say. Well, Nuwaupians will say, Dr. York was under the rest because he slept in a cell and he was around rats and roaches. But wait a minute, Dr. York said that he did that to make you hard. He said that I put y'all under those conditions so that y'all would know and y'all never have to worry about any hardships in life. He's saying that, then how can that be torture? Did Dr. York torture the Nuwaupians in the various communities, having them living like third world country savages in squalor, where women had to beg to get sanitary napkins or had to stick rolled up nylon stockings up there, to stop the blood because the millionaire didn't want to kick out just a little bit of money to get sanitary napkins for the sisters on the land. This is it was a very bad environment. And matter of fact, many brothers did leave who started questioning the doctrine and started seeing where York was plagiarizing his information from other books, that book, and then just making up stuff. And then they became the butt of jokes, and then they became enemies or slanderers. Anybody that goes against York or challenges his teaching, the cult refers to them as a slanderer. So you had the brother Kurt Overton. You had a number of brothers back in when they were the Nuwaupian nation of Moors who were going out and speaking against York, and they demonized them. These were people that York referred to as his sons, like me, because I was considered one of his sons. So I don't know what this brother is talking about, because I stayed in constant contact with York because I was in D.C. and in Baltimore, and I was talking to the man over the phone. It was why I didn't have to go down and live on that land. I stayed down in the barn one night, and I was glad I didn't have to stay down there because that was where the brothers lived. The brothers had to live in bunk beds in a barn, and the place was hot and muggy and sticky. And you didn't even get to live. You didn't even get to sleep next to your own wife. Why? Because you are making a sacrifice for the mission.
Damn, man.
Meanwhile, York has a mansion in Athens, Georgia, where he's got all kinds of kids living there. Not to mention that he gets to sleep with those kids and have little parties in his jacuzzi, having threesomes with boys and girls. Remember, I keep bringing her name up. Kathy Johnson apologized for taking part in the sexual molestation that she and York participated in. But nobody wants to talk about Kathy now because Kathy Johnson is number one as being his main wife. But when she put that book out and started talking about her memoirs and her experience in there and started going up against York, then they tried to stop her book and give it bad ratings on Amazon because they come to find out that, dang, now what they said that the FBI done got the Kathy too, and she participated. Right. The victims, I testified, yeah, Kathy Johnson was right there. And let me make this one thing clear. Let me say, please, I got to say this. See, York, what he did was to help incriminate other victims. What he had done was he made sure that the sex that took place with the kids was always with others. So when they participate, they were already guilty because they touched the child. Next, you can't go talk about it because if I get arrested, you going down with me. And that was
you already know where I'm headed. You already know where I'm headed.
All right, I need you to talk. I need you to talk, brother, because I got to end the show on this one. Go ahead.
I'm trying. I let the brother speak, so I'm trying to talk. Okay.
Go.
So you already know where I'm headed. It's a lot of people that need to be held accountable that's coming out right now talking about what was done, how much was sick, and just how kind of retarded how atmosphere this was, and people need to be held accountable. Except everybody's pointing the finger at Dr. York, when in matter of fact, somebody else needs to take accountability. Everybody that knew about what was going on, they try to use this facade as, okay, this is the sacrifice. After a while, we're grown men. Wrong is wrong, right? You're not messing with nobody's key. You're not messing with my key. You're not taking my wife. You're not doing wrong is wrong, right? So how much accountability are you going to take for what you knew and what you didn't say at the time all of this was going on? Because you are accountable. You are accountable. I'll let you talk to him. Let me finish. And I got another question. You are accountable as well because you knew what was going on. You knew the living conditions. You talking about they slept in the barn in horrible conditions or whatever. You knew that was wrong. How come you didn't say so? How come you wasn't on the radio station then?
Like
you are now.
It's getting hot, baby.
You understand what I'm saying? You are held accountable, and when it's all right to have you on his channel, he needs to ask you the same thing.
Good. I hope he does. So let me ask you a question. All right, let me ask you a question. Very simple.
All right.
Okay. First of all, we were always taught that Ansar's life and business stays on the inside because we considered ourselves at that time when I was a member that we were whatever took place was to take place among us. If anybody outside, if you didn't live in the community, then it wasn't none of your business. That was how it was carried. So
but you know how black people are. Word gets around. Everybody know what's going on. Ain't nobody stupid here. We see what it is. We see between the lines. Nobody wants to say what was going on, and everybody knew about it. And everybody who knew about it is accountable for it, including yourself. Now, how much of it are you going to say? How much responsibility are you going to take?
Can I answer? I understand your passion. Let me answer. First of all, I didn't live on Tamaray. I keep telling y'all that. What I did was when I worked on the land one time, we stayed on Edgewood Avenue in Atlanta. We would go back and forth to the land. So one night I spent the night in the barn, and
that's when you finally knew.
Let me finish.
That's when you finally knew about it. That's when you finally heard about how sick this environment was when you went to the barn. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. If you listen to what I'm saying, you'll know what I'm saying. Now, let me say what I'm saying so I don't have to say what I'm saying. All right.
Go ahead.
Now, when you was in the barn, all we was doing was just brothers who was upstairs sleeping. There was no kids there. There was none of that kind of stuff. All I'm saying is that was that night that I saw that, damn, I don't want to live like this. That's like military life, and I don't want to live like that. So as far as the barn is concerned, yeah, I mean, people lived in, hell, it was like that in D.C. You had bunk beds, and you had a bunch of brothers living there. You know, you just made, that was part of what we lived. That was a lifestyle. You had to make certain sacrifices. That was it. Now, in regards to where the children in their sleeping quarters, you being a male, you couldn't go up into the sister's house and you couldn't go into the children's house. The brothers stayed in the brother's bait or house, and the same thing applied to the brothers who lived on the land and every other place. You just were separated, and you spent time with them when you had what's called mate time. Like in different cities, it varied. You had mate time that you could spend with your girlfriend or your wife. See, you couldn't just have an arrangement where you're living together and you're living father, son, daughter, and all. And that wasn't the way the community was set up. It was segregated. So all I'm doing is, at this point, is just sharing as much as I can and in many ways as I can of the life that was the community at that time when I was a part of it, and then addressing the inconsistencies in the teachings.
So are you saying that everything all the information that you accumulated now, 15 years later, is what you found out 15 years later, or did you know any of this information in between the beginning of your adaptation to the organization up until now? Like, where in between, or did you just find out after you left, or since that barn situation? That's all I'm asking. How long have you knew about what was going on?
Okay, first of all, like I was saying, in regards to the molestations, I didn't know anything about it until I started reading the transcript.
Right, and that's because you didn't want to know, right? You said you didn't want to know. You didn't want to know anything about none of it, right? Don't that sound kind of strange and funny?
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm really asking Sinetta.
No,
if you devoted to this group, your whole life, your whole being is devoted to this group, and then the person that's teaching you, or the person that you're under, is going to back and forth describe about molesting kids, why wouldn't you want to know? That doesn't make no sense. So that's how you know all this clever stuff is going on. Everybody had, not everybody, excuse me, a lot of people had some knowing about what was going on, but really didn't.
The brother have a valid question, and I'm sorry, but I got to move on. Sorry you called in a little late, but you do have a valid question. I understand what you're saying. Thank you, brother.
I just wanted to answer that last part.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you answer the last part. Go ahead, brother.
The last part is so simple. I didn't want to know anything about it because, number one, it was too complicated because I didn't live down there and I didn't know all the details. So I had no way of really knowing unless I got some second or third hand information. It wasn't until 2013 that I read the transcript of the case and that I was able to make to know all the facts and make details and then I started talking to the victim. That's important. People don't talk to the victim. So I took the initiative to go and talk to them and see what they're saying. So that's why I didn't want to know. So let me finish. So I didn't want to know anything about that stuff. I was just trying to hold on to the doctrine. I was as blind as any other Nuwaupian. And they are not.
All right, I got you. I understand. Last simple small question. So yes or no answer. So you hold no accountability. You take no responsibility for any wrongdoing that went on in the Nuwaupian nation. Absolutely
not.
All right, there you have it. There you have it. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, family. It reminds me of what's the other dude name that you said that was down there as well? He had his own organization and he was accused of doing Yahweh Ben Yahweh. How much do you know about Yahweh Ben Yahweh? And if you know a little something about him, we could probably do something on that one. Oh no, matter of fact, I got just the brother to drop it on Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
Bring Khalil on.
I'll bring Khalil on that because he was in that group. So that's good. You're right. So my brother, I want to thank you for calling in, for taking the time out to giving the people some clarity. The same thing. I got to give you that shine. And brother, next week I would love to do a part 2 where you could be able to show some of the facts, show your sources, show what you what you're talking about, where the people could go directly to it and see it. Now, would you like to give your website, brother? I see it. It's right there on the screen. Nuwaupianism.com. They could go there and do what and see what, brother?
Well, if you go through the website, if you want to know and see the documentation regarding the case and some of the transcripts or the trial notes, you can go to the category the leader. If you want to see all the plagiarisms, or not all, but because it's constantly growing because I'm adding new material all the time, you can go to the plagiarism part of the website. Then if you want to see all the twisted turns and crazy doctrines that Malachi York is a space alien and he rides on a planet and rides on a spaceship, you can go to Right Knowledge Gone Wrong. And of course, the York holy book called the Holy Tablets, you can go to that section and you can see some of the ridiculousness that's in that book that defies logic, that has been addressed, that debunks as much as possible because it's a constant work in progress. And we're working on a book. Finally, we're working on a book, and we're going to get that out because having a website is good to address things in real time, but we also want to have a publication that there documents and has all the evidences and pictures, charts, diagrams, and all these other things for people to be able to hold in their hand that could be passed on from generation to generation. Because when I'm dead, the Nuwaupians, more than likely, just like any other cult group, they're going to still be around, of course. But there will be information out when I'm gone that will challenge them, that will refute the teachings of what Dr. York taught or what he claimed. And that's something that is what I'm doing just to try to help. All I'm doing is trying to help. The same zeal and drive that I had to teach his doctrine, I'm using to just debunk his teachings and give people the facts on what took place and give them the evidence so that they can see it and then they can do whatever they want to do with it.
All right. Thank you, my brother Chuck. I appreciate you, brother. Peace.
Okay. All right, brother.
All right. Family, let me just say this and make it clear that I am not taking anybody's side. I'm not taking the side of Chuck Morgan. I'm not taking the side of the Nuwaupians. What I am doing is bringing the two together, bringing this information out, bringing the other information out, and it's up to y'all to decide. It's not up to me. So when people say, oh, Sar, why are you letting them do that? This is what I do. This is the BlackNews 102. You see what I'm saying? So I would have let this brother Chuck Morgan come in and drop his truth. And now we're going to shift gears, and I'm going on over about 5 o'clock to brother Pharaoh to let Pharaoh come on and drop his truth because we all have some truth in our information. So I want to be fair with that. I'm not taking nobody's side. I'm in the background just saying, hey, I'm asking, you know, they play the devil's advocate sometime and ask a question and ask this brother a question. And that's it. I'll back off and let y'all decide who is telling the truth, who can I go with. I eat the meat, spit out the bones. That's all I'm here to do. I'm not here to side with nobody else. My brother Rob Bourne is in the building. And, brother, I ain't seen no donation come from you yet, brother. I'm putting you on blast. You my man, 50 grand. You know what I'm saying? Keep this black power machine running, brother. We need new mics. We need new equipment. And I got Divine Prospect coming up here, be in the city soon. I don't know if I want to get Rob Bourne to sit with Divine because Rob Bourne, no, Divine is a goddamn killer. So Rob Bourne is not like a lot of these other Hebrew Israelites, man. Divine Prospect is a scholar. He is a killer. And I remember the other confrontation that these two brothers had up at the National Black Theater. I don't know if Rob Bourne want to sit with this little giant. He's a giant, but he's a little giant. He's a midget giant, you know. He's a midget giant. But he got his scholarship up to par. And we just going to have some fun with this knowledge, man. We bringing it back full circle. So, family, I'm still looking for, I think I got a few people. I'm looking for somebody to hit me with at least a minute or two of some fire lyrics dealing with When Two Worlds Collide, Clash of the Titans, Sarnetta TV debates. That's what I need from y'all. And if you and I need it on a beat that's not commercial because they ain't gonna let it play. So for my artists out there, step up. Let me put my email in the chat. So whoever got that, y'all want y'all music played, you already know you get credit on the Sarnetta TV. I'm going to see who will I choose, sar.netta@yahoo.com. Family, get it done. I only need about a minute and a half. Send me that music. If you want me to send you the beat, I'll send you the beat. But I got to have some time. Let me see this. Let me check this out. Check this out right quick. Because I was going through some of the beat. Check it out. Uh-oh, no. I don't want that. I don't want that. Uh-oh. I can send you some beats, y'all. When Two Worlds Collide. The Clash of the Titans. All right, thank you, my brother. Dan, that's another $100 in the building. I appreciate that, family. Thank you. Appreciate that. Bring Wu-Ja on, Chuck Morgan and Wu-Ja to debate all of them. Woo! Money talk, bullshit walk. That brother, he said bring Chuck Morgan on and the Wu-Ja. I think I'm going to have to meet that demand. Money talk, bullshit walk. You already know what it is. Peace and black power. Hey, check this out right here, though. Let me see. Where's that beat at? Where's that joint at? Let me see if this is it. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm looking for it. Where's it at? Uh-oh. I'm looking for somebody to rock this for me, y'all. When two worlds collide. Clash. The Titans. Clash of the Titans. Who gonna step up? Who gonna step up, y'all, and give me that hip hop song? I need that. Go in. I want y'all to go in hardcore. It ain't gotta be conscious. Just go in with it. Clash of the Titans. All right, I want to say thank you to that $200 donation. I appreciate that. And this right here should be an example right here. The brother showing that what we need to do with each other. This is how that black dollar circulate and go round and round. And I know them haters out there, boy, they don't want to see this shit go down. They don't want to see it, but it's going down, whether you like it or not. And family, I will be black between the hours of 5 and maybe 10 minutes after 5. But I guarantee you, I will be back. The New York Knicks game come on tonight, 7:30 or 7 o'clock. I know Captain Cesariak is a New York Knicks fan. We have a lot of New York Knickerbockers in the building, and we're looking good this year, y'all. All I'm going to say is we're looking good. By next year, we should be looking even better. We got a lot of money in the cap where we could get and pay for a top-notch player. We might be getting Kyrie Irving. I'm looking for Kyrie Irving to come and join the team. Or they talking about, what's my man? What's my man from Golden State Warriors? What's my man who y'all hate? Kevin Durant. We looking at Kevin Durant as well. So family, we get that. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be down at the Garden getting interviews. I should take my ass down there tonight and catch the people as they coming in, because you know it's going to be mad crowded down there at the Garden tonight. I should go down there tonight, but I'm going to want to watch the game. I might get in for free. I might see one of the Knickerbockers who might know me. You know what I'm saying? One of the Knicks might know me and bring me in the back, bring me in the locker room, and woo, that shit'll be crazy. You know, I'm going to start going down there during this time. You know what I'm saying? Because Madison Square Garden going to be jumping. So you know me and my slick ass, I get up in there. Y'all think I can't get in there? I get in there. Real talk. So peace and black power, family. Let me go, and I'll come back with our brother Pharaoh from the Nuwaupian Nation. Send all music to the saw.net@yahoo.com. I need the theme song to be about Clash of the Titans when two worlds collide. Saw.net TV debates. Throw all of that in there. Please throw all of that in there, family. We're gonna get it in. This is gonna be lovely for this winter when it's cold outside and there's snow outside. Where can y'all go? Right here to Saw.net TV. All right, when two worlds collide. We're gonna get it popping. Peace and black power. We out.